But guys, instead of this, here white can also consider this move knight to d4. This is because suppose if black captured this with a4, captured the pawn on a4, now white can play knight to b5, threatening to capture on c7, and after queen moves to suppose c6, bishop takes a4, and after knight takes a4, rook takes a4, and clearly you can see that white is better. But in the actual game, after knight to e4, Bobby simply captured on a4. But here knight to d4 might be the better option, because by this pawn push you can see that so black king safety get compromised. But guys, after queen to c8, white can also consider this amazing move e6, trying to destroy the pawn structure of black. And suppose if black decides to lock the position by f6, this will not work because white will play queen to d3, targeting this undefended g6 pawn. And if black tries to just push his pawn, now this is completely losing, because simply queen to g6, and now in the next move white will bring his knight to f5 and then queen to g7, and you can see that white is winning. Okay, so in the actual game, after queen to c3, but guys, exchanging the knight might be the better option, because now black instantly pushed c5, targeting this knight. Another inaccuracy by Fischer. Instead, he must consider the move d8. So instead of this, he must consider pushing his pawn. But why? This is because now white can play this amazing move c4, and obviously you don't capture this with the b pawn, because then you can see that black pawn structure get compromised. So that's why after this bishop takes c4, d7. Okay, rook at e goes to d8. Okay, so basically creating a barrier towards this pawn. But after this, bishop to f6, attacking this rook, and you can see that white is now close to promotion and winning, right? But no, this position is actually close to equal. This is because you can see that on the queen's so you can see that on this queen side, black is looking very dangerous, and you can see that this pawn are looking very dangerous. So this is very close to promotion, very close to promotion also. Okay, so let me show you a quick variation from here. Instead of moving this rook here, black can simply push b4, and now it is very important for white to play rook to d6 so that it can go to a, b, c files to stop these pawns. But this is because suppose if white gets greedy and he grabs this rook, then now white is losing. This is because after rook takes d8, now you can see that black successfully stopped this pawn. But on the other hand, black will start pushing these pawns which cannot be stopped by the white. And suppose if white brings his rook to d6, king to e7, attacking this rook, rook to c6, targeting this pawn, rook takes d7, rook takes c5, rook to d2 check, king to g1, rook takes c2, and clearly you can see that this position is completely winning for black. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move b5, so after this move, Spassky missed this amazing move and he decides to bring his rook to f1. Basically, he wants to bring his rook to f4 and then h4, and finally on h7 with a check. Okay. But again, Bobby made a mistake. He gives up his rook early to stop this move rook to f4 and then h4. But instead, he must consider firstly starting pushing his pawns, because this rook to f4 and h4 is not a very big threat for black. Why I am saying this? Let me show you. Suppose after this after this move, if suppose if black pushed a3, now white will obviously moves according to his plan. And suppose if black pushed his pawn, now rook to h4, okay, and if queen, rook to h7 check, and guys, this position is draw. But why? This is because after king to g8, rook to h8 check, king to f7, and you can see that this game will become draw after giving multiple checks. So that's why after rook to f4, so let me go back. So that's why after this move rook to f4, in this position, the only winning move for black is not to push these pawns. It is actually this move, sacrificing the rook. This is because after takes, now you can see that white can't bring his rook to this h4 square. And suppose if white tries to stop this pawn, simply e5, rook at f goes to f1, but a2, and clearly you can see that white cannot stop these strong pawns. Okay, so in the actual game, after rook to h8, And now, yeah, so now you can see that in this position, basically black must consider this move e5, trying to remove this active rook, but instead he blunders by bishop to d5. This is because now white brings his king to g3, supporting these pawns, and you can see that now this game is close to equal. How? Let's see. Now it's very important for white to give a check from c square. So give a check from c square so that black rook can keep an eye towards this f pawn. But instead, Spassky blunders by giving a check from d1 square. This is because after king to e2, now you can see that no one can stop this f pawn from promotion. And in this position, Spassky resigned because clearly you can see that no one can protect white in this position. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.